So I just finished watching this video, and it felt kind of tangentially related to what I've talked about in this past few videos that I've made. And that's about, I've been saying if we're going to be using our phones, we might as well be putting like our most authentic self out there on social media. If we're constantly going to be on these platforms, let's stop trying to pretend. Let's stop trying to pretend to be someone we're not. Let's stop comparing ourselves to people who are not on the same stratosphere as us, and let's try and put a little bit more realness out there instead of everything being scripted and kind of trying to impress people with what you do. So, thinking about that in terms of how it contributes to how we all interact with each other socially, and I've mentioned the fear and the risk that one takes when they post online. And I think for a lot of people, the thought of making a video, the first fear that comes to their head when they think of it is, well, I don't want to be judged. I don't want people to leave nasty comments. I don't want people to remix my video and make fun of me or look like a fool, which is fair. I would say to that idea, you just have to get comfortable with being made fun of, because if not, then you'll never get out of your shell, and the internet can get toxic. I've seen plenty of videos breaking down drama about other content creators and all these things that they're into, and the backlash that they get from their communities, and that's all very valid, but that's just one fear. And the other thing that I have kind of touched on is we're in a time where all of this information that we put on the internet that betrays who we are, what we think, and how we feel, it can be used against us. And for some people, that takes the form, if you're in a powerful position, that takes the form of blackmail. For a regular person, I guess it could too. And a lot of people could lose their jobs because of their opinions that they've posted online. And so I think there's a very valid approach to the internet, which is just watch and don't necessarily contribute. And the video that I just watched before making this video is about a company, I think they're called Clearview, that their pitch to other businesses isn't, we'll do background checks on new employees. Their pitch is, we will continuously monitor your employees for any potential, I don't even know what the words they use are, because these kind of companies speak in this weird language. Any kind of potential chance that they will do something that you wouldn't like as a company. And so what they're doing is they're watching employees' social media feeds. They're somehow getting access to medical records. They're getting a lot of data that, for one, is publicly available, but on the other hand, you might not think they would have access to because of patient confidentiality or doctor-patient confidentiality. Maybe bank statements, you would think your financials aren't necessarily public record, but they kind of are. And there's a lot of ways that they get around that. I don't know how this company in particular is doing it, but just for example, if you use an app that tracks your spending to help you, they advertise it as, oh, I bet you didn't know that you had subscriptions that you were paying for. We save people $50 a month, whatever. They have access now to all of your transactions you ever make, and are building a profile on what you buy as a consumer. And so they use that to better advertise to you, to sell you more debt producing products like credit cards and loans. But that's just one aspect. So the people that are on the board of this company, Clearview, I think it's called, one of them worked for Equifax and a liability kind of seeing who could potentially be a liability kind of branch of that company. If you don't know Equifax, you probably know them from your credit report. They're one of 3 main bureaus that give out a credit report on people. And this guy was head of one of them. Another guy was head of TransUnion, or not head, but highly involved in TransUnion, which is another one of those 3 companies. One of them was part of another kind of data brokerage company that, and the reason I bring this up, I think TransUnion and then this woman that I forgot what company she worked for, both had huge data breaches where like there were class action lawsuits against them, and the people ended up, all the people that got in the class action lawsuit at the end of the day ended up getting like $3 for all their trouble, and now all their information's out there on the internet and available to any company who wants to buy it, or any kind of like dark actor that wants to steal it. And then the fourth person that he mentioned in this video that's sitting on the board of this Clearview company is former military working in intelligence. And so they already have contracts with the Pentagon, so the Department of Defense with the Homeland Security, and big companies like Visa, American Express. This is all kind of a tangent, but the point that I'm trying to make is, okay, now not only is like the government constantly spying on us, now there's companies constantly spying on us, and they are selling that service to other companies who might potentially hire you. The danger is pretty obvious right there. So if you as an individual are wanting to find a job, wanting to improve your career and make a living in a world that's increasingly more difficult to make a living in and like actually be successful in, to hurt your chances for a good career, all for being your true self on the internet, can seem kind of silly. But I think the only reason why that is the status quo right now, like we walk on those eggshells, is because all of us as a people have kind of like taken on that idea of, well, the companies, you know, we need to do whatever the companies say, and then anybody who has that kind of a mindset will end up joining the ranks of these companies, becoming part of the bureaucracy, and then it becomes this game of like, I just don't want to get blamed for making a bad hire or making a bad decision, costing the company any money, and so people just always play it on the safe side regardless of like the human cost. And I think us on the other end of that, maybe if you're not necessarily a bureaucrat in that kind of way, or a middle manager, or somebody who just likes to kiss the boot and like not make any waves and not stand up for what's right or anything, then us as individuals who like need to make money off of that system, because that's the world that we live in, have to consider, well, I can't, like, I have to appease these people, these middle managers, these bureaucrats, because they're the ones that hold my ability to make a living for myself. And so we are in a way complicit in this, and I know it's like we're complicit with a gun to our head, but at the same time, all of those middle managers and bureaucrats and people that are too scared to make waves or stand up for things that are good are people just like us. And the reason they do this is because they've bought into an idea of like, well, we have to just follow the rules, we have to do whatever our bosses say, and we're not allowed to like speak up when we see something is wrong or we feel like something is wrong. And as long as all of us continue to do that, that's going to continue to be the case. And so if the smallest resistance we can do is just to be our authentic self online, you know, we're not like fighting wars, we're not throwing Molotov cocktails at like any kind of buildings or anything. We're just posting videos of ourselves being people, and we're cutting other people the slack to be people, and we're like coming forward with authenticity and accepting other people. And that doesn't mean like nobody ever says anything stupid. Totally fine to rag on someone for saying something stupid, but also having that ability to like forgive them and move past it, because guess what? You are also putting yourself out there. But if you don't put yourself out there, then it's really easy to make fun of people from the sidelines. It's really easy to like look down on people and feel like you're above them because you're not in the mix just like everyone else, or just like actually a small group of people are. And so we all kind of like delude ourselves into thinking we're in this better position. Either, you know, we're smarter, we're more charismatic, we are just have a better head on our shoulders, when in reality, like, that's probably not the case. And we're all suffering from this bias of thinking that we're better because we're actually never engaging in the thing, and we're just watching it from the side. It's like somebody who watches a football game and then sees a play and goes, oh, that guy's a dumbass, I would have done it like this or whatever. It's like, these people are machines getting paid millions of dollars to do this, and you're here like thinking that you know better than them or the coach. And so all that to say, I mean, kind of a long-winded thing of explaining I think that it's worthwhile still, even though we're constantly being surveilled and all this information could be used against us, to work towards the movement of allowing everybody to be human, allowing everybody to fuck up, allowing everybody to redeem themselves, and not living in this like sterile corporate world where everything is a number and you get fired for not performing a certain amount, or even not even that. You get fired because like some numbers got shifted and now we need to trim the fat of the company, and all these like soulless things that we are all, I feel like, feeling right now the more than ever. They don't go away just by like complaining about it silently. They go away by all of us taking small steps in the right direction. And that doesn't mean like you have to go out and make these tough changes and change your life and walk the walk and talk the talk. What you have to do is just like start small and start by being the humanity that you want to see in the world.